Well, what is happening, movie fans alike and Transformers fans everywhere? Welcome back to the channel. I am Dial, and this is another edition of my life. And today I am officially dubbing this day Transformers Tuesday. That's right, Transformers Tuesday. We have a very special edition of Dial's Live for you today. We are officially on the road to Transformers Rise of the Beasts. So, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about every Transformers film leading up to Transformers Rise of the Beasts that's coming out in June. And today we are going to be starting with the original animated film that came out in 1986, The Transformers the movie. Very excited to get into this. And I am not alone. Joining with me today, I have fellow YouTuber and Transformers enthusiast, Big B.
Hey, how's it going? Glad to be here. Glad to be here and glad to be talking about my favorite franchise ever.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you here. I'm so glad to have a Transformers expert here to help me along the way. Because, I mean, I wouldn't call myself like a casual, but I definitely don't know all the nicks and crannies of Transformers. So I'm glad to have you here to have an awesome discussion. Before we begin, let's see who's in the chat. Who is in the chat? M Wamba 85 DT. Wow, you have never seen this movie. I'm surprised. Plus, it has a good soundtrack. Actually, that's not true. We've seen this movie before. We've seen this movie before.
Oh
Long-
yeah, no, I've seen it enough to the point where I know the script by heart.
you know it now. Cool, cool, cool. Well, without further ado, let us get into the Transformers, the movie. And as always, I it feels kind of weird for me to bring this up because this is such an old movie, but I'm sure there's people out there that have never seen this. They mainly know about the live action films, unfortunately. But we're going to educate them today. But as always, we got to remind the viewers out there this is going to be a spoiler filled discussion. We're going to be talking about this film as if you've already seen it. This movie is like 30 years old, over 30 years old. If you have not seen the Transformers, the movie, the animated film, I suggest you guys go and find it. It's somewhere out there. You guys can go watch it and come back and watch the replay of this if you don't want to know anything about it. So you have been warned. Okay. So, before we get to this movie, I think it's good for us to talk about our history with Transformers in general. I love me some Transformers. I enjoyed Transformers a lot. I pretty much have seen almost every version of Transformers on TV. Of course, we talk about the original Generation One show, and there's like a whole bunch of other stuff like Transformers Cybertron, Transformers Energon. There's probably a show about that. There's
There
Transformers.
is.
Yep, exactly. Um, Transformers Beast Wars. Um, yeah, there's so many versions of Transformers. Even the Cartoon Network Transformers animated show that not a lot of people talk about. I even like that one. So many versions of Transformers I've seen over the years. I haven't finished any of them though. Which is pretty sad. I never actually finished a Transformers show from start to finish. I would dibble and dabble whenever it would come on TV, but like I definitely enjoy the overall universe of Transformers and the characters and the different robots. I thought it was all cool, you know. Top nerdy shit when it comes to Transformers like that. Power Rangers, some GI Joe in there. That's been my stuff when I was a kid. Um, and of course, we all know, when it comes to the mainstream movie going audience, like a lot of people know about the Michael Bay Transformers films, which, oh boy, those are a thing. But I mean, there's some cool stuff in them. We'll talk about them when we get there. But like, definitely, Transformers has held a special place in my heart, of course. Let's get to you, Big B. What has been your history of Transformers in general?
Well, to call it an obsession might be putting it lightly. Transformers has been like it's been a big part of what I've followed and big part of like pop culture for me. First show that I've ever watched when I was little was the '80s cartoon. Uh, then, of course, was introduced to the movie. Uh, Collected a lot of the toys, which you can me. Um, and I've been following it ever since. I've watched almost every show cover to cover. I think the only one I haven't finished was Beast Machines. I did finish Beast Wars, but not Beast Machines. But
I
I
didn't even know
own
there was a
most of the
Beast
shows.
Machine.
Oh yeah, it's a sequel to it. You got to watch it.
Oh boy.
They I've collected almost every series so far. I think the only one I'm missing is Transformers Prime, but it's kind of hard to get my hands on those.
Yeah, that's not.
I've been, like I said, collecting a bunch of the figures. Any sort of like little knickknacks I can get my hands on. Like it's something I've been following heavily. Even the comic books. Like I have a whole box over there that's just full of like Dia Works, uh, Image, even the Marvel comic. So, definitely been following this for a while.
Yeah, that definitely the expert we got here, which is awesome. That's great. Um, so when it comes to the animated movie, this was the first Transformers movie I've ever seen before the Michael Bay films came out. My dad actually had me watch this before the Michael Bay films came out. So good on you,
Oh
dad. Good on
yeah.
you. Yeah, I remember when back at when we went to Blockbuster. Yes, when Blockbusters were still around. Yeah, we went to Blockbuster and then we got the VHS tape of Transformers the movie. Yep, and he actually had me sit down and watch it. And I have to say I have a love hate relationship when it comes to this movie. Um, because like I would say objectively compared to all the other Transformers movies we've gotten up until this point, like I still think as far as a Transformers movie, this is still the standard to this day. Like this is the movie where it actually focuses on the Transformers. It's based off the Generation One TV show, which is probably one of the best versions of the Transformers. The animation was great. The voice acting was very good across the board. It was such a fun thrill ride. But I overall this movie makes me angry at the same time because of all the death that happens in this movie. Like killing off some of the main Transformers from the show. Just literally just gone within the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Oh yeah, Hasbro had some reasons for that. Not good reasons, but reasons.
Yeah, not good reasons, but it happened. Like, I mean, I'm sure you could elaborate on it when we get into it, but like I think they pretty much did that because like this felt like was this like a transition period between different seasons? Because that's what it felt like to me. Like they wanted to bring in new characters, bring in the new toys, new shiny toys to play with. So get rid of the old, bring in the new. That's pretty much what this felt like to me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of trivia there because really this movie is essentially an hour-long commercial. Oh, that's pretty much what the '80s show was meant to be. Like the whole first episode was meant to just be a commercial for toys. They didn't expect it to go into like M. Wamba just said, they did the same thing in Beast Wars, and like the whole they didn't want to keep making those toys either because they didn't sell well or them. So they pushed them off the shelves, made way for some of these new characters, and so they had to die. So
Yeah, so like that part just really made me upset, especially just killing off the death of Optimus Prime in this movie. Like really, that really just
mm-hmm.
oh, it hurt me so much.
Mm-hmm. It set a standard for the rest of the shows, though.
Yeah, it did for sure. But yeah, I guess to put my personal upsetness about the movie regarding killing off some of my favorite Transformers. As far as overall the movie, I thought it was fun. I thought it was a really enjoyable film. It was a thrill ride from start to finish. Like it was so much action in this movie. Like guns blazing from the moment go. Like there's I don't think there was any slow moments in this movie. And yeah, the new Transformers they do introduce in this movie, I thought they were cool. I thought they were fine. Following like Ultra Magnus, Hot Rod, RC. I thought they were pretty cool. And the little we get with the quintessons I thought was interesting. I wish they went more into that, but of course, like the main character we're getting from this movie is Unicron. That's what everybody walks away from. Unicron, the big planet-sized transformer that destroys other planets. Like if Galactus was a transformer, this is it. Unicron, that was awesome, badass in this movie. But yeah, overall, that's my thoughts on the Transformers, the movie. What are your thoughts on this movie?
I mean, obviously, it holds a special place in my heart. It was like one of the first movies I ever saw. It definitely left a little bit of trauma as a kid, seeing some of my favorite characters get killed off. I know M1, just mentioned a couple that were big for me, but yeah, I mean, I still love it. And it's still, yeah, I do feel it's like the standard for Transformers films, but I do also recognize, like, as I got older, like learning some of the history behind it, realizing that, yeah, it was an advertisement for, figures overall. That's pretty much what the objective was. Same with the G.I. Joe movie. A lot of movies that Hasbro were making around that time were just pretty much commercials. And, I get why they did some of the things that they did. I don't fully agree with it, but, you know, uh, this movie still impresses me to this day, though, especially considering like some of the people, they have some pretty big names in this movie.
Oh
But
yeah.
you
Hmm.
know,
Like,
oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, overall, I still love this movie. I acknowledge its faults, but I still love it. And
Yeah, yeah. You talk about big names. Orson Welles, for example,
yes,
voicing
yes,
voice Unicron. That was unheard of, man. Like, and I heard like behind the scenes that Orson Welles wasn't even a big fan of Transformers. I I
correct.
for, I forgot like what motivated him to actually decide to do this project. I don't even know.
Probably money, but
I mean, yes, yeah, that's true.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
no, he is quoted as saying that all he really knew about the project was that he played a big toy that would destroy other toys. That was essentially what he is quoted as saying. He wasn't a big fan of this movie and or the property, and on top of that, this was the last thing he ever did. Like he was, I think he was kind of on his way out when he was recording for this, which they there's some trivia with how they did his voice here, which I'll probably get into later. But yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And of course, the great Peter Cullen voicing Optimus Prime. Like, what can you say about it though? It hasn't already been said. He is Optimus Prime to everyone, and he does a really good job here. Um, and I'm trying to think what other Frank Welker as Megatron, of course, very very good. Did he voice Galvatron as well, or was
no, that was actually Leonard Nimoy. That was Leonard
that's
Nimoy. That
right?
yep,
That's right. Leonard Nimoy from
yep,
Star Trek. All right, yep,
yep,
Spock.
yep. They only had him voicing Galvatron for this movie. After that, they did get Frank Welker to do it though for
Okay.
season 3 and 4. But
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. They got some big names here, which I thought was absolutely cool. It was really really cool. Um. Okay. So said before, in the beginning, pretty much is just an all-out battle sequence for like 20, 30 minutes with Megatron and the Decepticons invading Autobot City. It's an all-out battle, and that's where we get, the Decepticons just slowly killing all of our favorite Autobots within the first 20 minutes, and I'm just like, what the heck?
oh yeah,
Oh my lord! It was just, it was nuts. It was really really nuts. So you might have to help me out with because I haven't watched all of the Generation One show. So was like Autobot City already established in the show by the time we got here?
so no, so the whole thing with the movie, besides being a commercial, to the gap between seasons 2 and 3. There's a huge time skip. In season 2, Spike was still a kid, so the movie comes along and it's like 20 years have passed. He's a father now. They just established Autobot City and everything. So it wasn't a thing in the series. It was just established by the time the movie happened. But
Mhm. In the far distant future of 2005.
oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's so nuts watching this now, and like we're in 2023, and like half the stuff that's in this film is not did not happen in 2005.
yeah,
I love the how movies like they try to guess what would happen like in the future. Like they did this with Back to the Future and like other movies like that. It's just nuts to see where we are now, and it's like, yeah, that stuff didn't happen, but that those are interesting guesses you got there. But yeah, um, what I also liked, another reason why this is still the standard when it comes to Transformers movies, is that we 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 know like with the Michael Bay Transformers films, they want to put the humans front and center. They are the main characters, and the Transformers are the supporting characters, and that really irritated me. But in this movie, it is 99.99% Transformers, and there's only two humans that we
yep,
follow in this movie, which is,
yeah.
as you said, Spike and Daniel. Is that
Yep.
his name?
Daniel. Yep.
Yep. Yep. We just focus on those two, and they don't overtake the movie at all. They are supporting characters to the Transformers, and they're actually good. They're not annoying. They play a part in the story. But yeah, that's what I really appreciated about that. I really like those Transformers suits that they have on. I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
the exosuits are really cool. It's a shame we don't really see those too much in future series, but
Yeah, I know. It's like that could be utilized a little bit more with the humans, and it's a shame that they don't try and make something like that with the live action films as well.
yeah, I mean, it feels like they were almost there with certain things, like, and I probably touch on it when we get there, but there were certain things that was like, oh, maybe they'll do exosuits now. But
Yeah, no, nah. um, but yeah. So getting into, I want to talk just a little bit more about Optimus Prime and his his tragic passing. His tragic passing. Okay, so at least I'm happy that we got one final battle between Megatron and Optimus before technically they both ended up dying because we ended up
mhm.
getting Galvatron later. But I did appreciate that we did get one final battle with them, and we got that iconic theme for the movie. You got the touch. You got the power. Like I loved it. I loved that they played that all throughout the movie. I thought it was cool. I didn't get tired of it. It's such a kick-ass song.
Oh yeah,
I liked actually most of the '80s music that they played in this movie. I thought it was really good.
it was like absurdly 80s music, but like it was really good. I liked it all. Stan Bush is a gift to humanity.
Hmm.
Really good. Fun Megatron's battle. It's actually a shortened version in the movie. Uh,
Oh, can you say it one more time? You broke up a little bit.
oh yeah, no, the fight between Optimus and Megatron, it was originally supposed to last the entire duration of the song, like the whole like 3 minutes, but they shortened it for the movie.
Why would they? Why did they shorten it? The movie's not even that long.
I beats me, but like you can find the storyboards and everything on YouTube actually, and it's really good. Like the fight that they would have had was actually honestly a lot better than what was in the film.
Such a shame. I mean, the fight here was cool though, still, but yeah, it's like it could have been a little bit longer. I was even thinking that watching it. Um, I okay. So when it comes to Optimus Prime's death, I feel like if you have not watched the show, it would probably be very jarring for people to see like the big iconic Transformers character. Like I think even for people that don't watch Transformers, they know a lot of people know Optimus Prime. Like that's the main popular Transformer. I think it would be very jarring for people to see that Optimus Prime gets killed in the first animated movie.
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely. Like in the first like 30 minutes of the movie.
30 minutes of the film, and it's like I don't like. Okay, I get they want to have a transition for for the new toys, out with the old, in with the new. I get that, but what was their mind process to kill Optimus Prime specifically?
It
Like,
was yeah, no, it was literally just because they wanted to put new toys on the shelves. Like it was so I've seen like a bunch of interviews with like the cast and people who were at Hasbro at the time, and they mentioned that like it was so traumatizing for kids at the time that when they released the film on like VHS, they had to cut in the narrator saying that Optimus will return. They had to reassure them.
oh my God, that reminds me. That reminds me. Back when I covered the GI Joe movies and I talked about the animated film, and like they were going to kill off Duke in that movie, but
Hmm.
there was such an uproar. People were so upset that last minute they had to dub out when it was clearly that he got stabbed, like
Yes.
in the heart, that he died. Somebody off screen said he's in a coma.
Yes, yeah, I remember watching that movie as well, like hearing that line. I was like, that feels out of place, and it's like, yeah, no, yeah, that's exactly right. They had to just
Exactly
go and
why I'm
cut that
like,
in. It
oh.
was because of the response to Optimus Prime's death that they were like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, how far apart did these movies come out?
It wasn't far. I maybe
I
like a
oh, I
couple
already
months.
forgot and I reviewed the movie. Because if this came out in 1986, let me hold on.
No,
I'm about
it came out. It came out a year later, 1987.
oh,
So
okay.
that movie was like already animated and done.
Yep, that makes sense.
So
That
they
makes
were
sense.
like, yeah, no.
Yeah, okay. I feel like that the death with Duke felt a little bit more warranted than the death with Optimus Prime, in my opinion. I think they should have just left it be. Um, but I say all that to say, like, okay, if you want to kill off Optimus Prime, that's fine. Like, story purposes, as long as the story is good and whoever's going to come into his place is good. My main issue with that is not to say that the other characters are bad, but none of them hold a candle to Optimus character wise. Like the person who ends up carrying on the mantle of the leader and gets the matrix of leadership is Ultra Magnus, and I'm sorry, Ultra Magnus is not that interesting in this movie. Like, he's not bad. It's just like there's nothing about him where I see like, yes, the next leader or anything like that. He feels like the substitute teacher
Yeah.
practically.
I
You
mean
know?
I mean that's pretty much what he was. I mean it's pretty much like, oh, he also turns into a truck. Yeah, here you go, everybody. Like,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
You're red,
yeah.
white, and blue too. So yeah.
Like ultimately he's just the delivery boy though. That's ultimately what it ends up being.
Yeah, that's it's such a shame.
Yeah.
I will say, like, in the later like versions of the Transformers, they do make him more interesting. I personally like what they did with him in Transformers Animated, where they actually made him like the leader before Optimus Prime did. And they made him a bigger truck than Optimus,
Hmm.
which I thought was weird, but it was fine. But like, I wish there was more of a leader presence with Ultra Magnus. There just wasn't that much in this movie. Like, he was fine, but just once again, just like, oh, you're giving it the Matrix leadership to him? Like,
Yeah, I mean they wanted to do the whole like chosen one story and everything with the movie, and man, it well, like man, that was like I don't know. I feel like they kind of set the tone the second that Megatron showed up on the shuttle and said, "Die, Autobots."
yep, that's pretty much the tagline of the whole movie. Die, Autobots! That's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Now, as far as like the other cast, we do follow Hot Rod, RC, Cup, and who's the Green Transformer? I
That
forgot.
would be Springer.
Springer. Yeah, yeah. So okay, so Hot Rod, I thought was cool. It felt like they wanted to give him more character, but they were holding back on him a lot in this.
Yes.
Like they wanted to make him like literally like the hothead of the, no pun intended, the hothead of the Transformers. Like, he goes his own way. He doesn't obey the rules, like whatever. But like, it felt like they didn't really want to lead into that enough. Like, that would have been a cool like hero's journey we could have gotten with Hot Rod. Like, by the time he gets the Matrix leadership at the end, like, I wish they fleshed out that a little bit more.
It's weird too because it's like, yeah, they initially at the start of the movie wanted him to be the hothead of the Autobots. He already had a hothead. That was Ironhide, but
Yep,
he's
there,
got.
but bye. God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna break a few hearts here when I say this.
Uh-oh, let's hear it.
Yeah. Hot Rod did nothing wrong. But-
Dang, what's the controversy with Hot Rod? I don't get it.
Well, so there's a big running thing in the like Transformers fan base where, like, Hot Rod killed Optimus, which to an extent.
Yeah.
Yes.
He ran in and tried to get Megatron. Yeah.
That's kind of like the thing. There is Megatron from like shooting Optimus and causes a whole like hostage situation, which prevents Optimus from finishing off Megatron, and then fatally wounded, yada yada yada. And to an extent, I do see the argument there, but at the same time, it's like if Hot Rod didn't interfere, Megatron would have just shot him. That's kind of where it is there.
Okay, so now that you brought that up, like, okay, so I'm gonna push back on that a little bit. Like, I see what you're saying. I feel like, because we did see before Hot Rod came in that Megatron was about to get the gun in front of him. It's weird to me that Optimus didn't see the gun there too. It's in clear view, but you didn't be like, stop. But anyway, even when he was trying to get the gun, I'm sure Optimus would have stopped him before he picked up the gun. At least that's my argument. Honestly, Hot Rod probably shouldn't have ran in like that. Like, I mean, hostage situation.
Yeah, I mean, he probably shouldn't have. I mean, at the same time, it's like and he was warned earlier by Cup, like, oh, that's his fight. But like from an outsider looking in, he sees that Optimus is starting to hesitate a little bit. He's monologuing a bit. He's saying, I thought you were made of sterner stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Got his hand on this gun. So it's like, it's like oh no, this is about to go completely wrong. But
yeah,
he didn't make it better, but I don't think he necessarily did anything wrong there.
Yeah, I mean, and he ends up, stopping Unicron at the end anyway, become Rodimus his prime. So it's like, it's fine. It's all part of the hero's journey.
Yeah. Plus he
first, and they get better.
Yeah. Plus he pays for it in season 3 and 4. He just becomes really depressed. So I mean, that's his comeuppance.
There you go. Postpartum depression, but So. As far as everyone else, Cup, the old man Transformer, telling his back in my day, let me tell you a story, doing that type of stuff. So I thought, okay, that was cool. It's always good to see RC. Love RC. I think he's great. I keep forgetting the green Transformer again.
Springer.
Like, okay, I don't really care for Springer. I'll be honest. Like, he's just there.
He was pretty much just meant to be the macho man, he sets the tone with his character when, they're in Autobot City and he's like, I've got better things to do tonight than die.
And then look what happened. Devastator threw a giant piece of the building at you. What, like, okay, great. That's great.
Yeah. But, I mean, you are technically two, but there's one other Transformer that does get followed a bunch in this film, and that's Blur.
Blur. The speedy Transformer. Cool. Okay, cool. He has super speed. He talks really fast. Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't try to do him in the live action movies. That would have been very.
They haven't yet.
Boy. Well, yeah.
I mean,
honestly, let's leave that character alone.
Yeah, no, they probably would have butchered him like they did Wheelie. It's fine, it's fine. Just leave it be.
Wheelie and Hot Rod and We'll get there when we get there. But you know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah. So the ragtag team of Transformers thought they were pretty solid. The little we get from Bumblebee and Jazz in here, cool. I'm glad they're in here. Like once again, there's two other popular Transformers. Like and
Mhm.
you're just putting them to the side, and I'm just like, did they die? I don't think they died because like they
No, no,
ran out.
they didn't. They were too afraid to kill those two off because even at this point, Bumblebee was kind of like the child appeal, mascot character. They do kill him later. They turn him into Goldbug, but, but they were a
Okay.
little too. They probably figured even while they were making this movie, we've done enough damage.
Oh, Optimus Prime, like we'll kill him, but
Well,
like
yeah,
Bumblebee
it's
and
like.
Jazz, that's
Well,
crossing
they
the
yeah,
line.
yeah, they're probably sitting there like, let's see, we've killed Wheeljack, Windcharger, Brawn, Ratchet, Ironhide, Prowl, like Optimus Prime, Megatron, Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp, the Insecticons. We should probably stop.
Yeah, that's enough slaughter for today.
Yeah, and yeah, no, Jazz was fine though. They never killed Jazz, but Bumblebee they did reformat into Goldbug.
Mm. I was afraid too because there was the one scene where Bumblebee, Spike, Jazz were like at one of those space stations, and Unicron was destroying it. And
Hmm.
I think it was the ship that Jazz was on, and they tried to fly away, and then it just got sucked into Unicron. And it's just like I'm like, no, you're not just gonna no, you
Hmm.
just killed him like that. Like, okay, thank God at the end they're okay, they're fine. Like
Oh yeah,
that really upset me. You just literally, they were
yeah.
trying to get away and they couldn't even. They just got sucked back in. It's like the Death Star. I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh god.
yeah. There's actually kind of another fun little bit of trivia with that scene. There are technically three different versions of this movie. Because there's the one that was released on like VHS that had this cool like Star Wars style scroll at the beginning. Then
Yeah, the
there's the
text.
one
Yeah.
without it. Yep. Then there's the one without it, and then there's the newer version of the film that they like tend to produce now, where during that Moonbase 2 sequence where like Jazz or Moonbase 1 sequence, no, it is Moonbase 2 when Bumblebee and Spike are getting sucked into Unicron. Spike swears, and I
Oh,
forget exactly what he says, but
said
yeah,
shit. He said, "Oh
yeah,
shit, where are we
yeah,
going?" Because
yep,
I
yep,
watched
yep,
that version. Yeah,
yep,
it was
yep,
like,
yep. And the
oh my god, they allowed to say that in an animated kids
well,
movie?
so that's the thing. They weren't sure if they were really able to say it, especially with like Ultra Magnus's thing earlier.
Hmm.
Blu-ray versions of this movie. If you look back through the scene selection and look for that scene, it is titled "The Swear Word."
Just to warn the kids out there. Just get ready with. Yeah,
Yep.
that is hilarious. That is so hilarious. What's up, K Dot? Glad you could make it.
Hmm?
And
Oh yeah,
what's
yeah,
up?
yeah.
What's up, Jason? That's my
It's a great
cousin,
one.
by the way. Glad you could
Yeah,
jump in, man. Um, so yeah, that's crazy though.
yeah,
That they just put a curse word in there.
yeah. Different
But
standards for film back then.
definitely.
That wasn't a theatrical version. Okay, I had no idea.
I didn't either. Yeah, I guess like Temple of Doom didn't wait. Did Temple of Doom come out before this? Because I know that was a movie that was PG, and there was a lot of disturbing stuff that happened in there. I think that was the one of the catalysts for them to make a
That
PG-13.
that did come out a couple years before that, 1984.
Okay.
1984.
They're still like, yeah, we're gonna put shit in an animated kids movie, but it's fine. It's okay. Um. Okay. So let's talk more about Galvatron. Um, Arguably one of the best Transformers villains. Um, this like
Oh yeah, Unicron. Yeah.
this Transformer, dude, it is nuts. It is just so nuts. His voice was scary and intimidating. He had such a presence, destroyed everything in his path. Like I just like it's pretty much it's pretty much a Transformer Galactus. That's pretty much
Yes.
it is.
Yeah. They opened up the movie with it.
Yeah, like
the whole the start of the film, before you even hear the cool theme song performed by Lion, they
mhm,
they have this random planet. I forget exactly what it's called, but
mhm,
it's like this peaceful society with all these scientists and everything, and they're like they know who Unicron is. They're like, oh, that's Unicron, and then he just eats their planet.
mhm. Yep, that's the tone we're setting for the entire movie. This movie's dark. This
Yeah,
movie,
it is. Compared to the first couple seasons, which are like mainly filled with like me and my uncles like to joke that seasons 1 and 2 they had their guns on stun, because like no almost nobody dies in seasons 1.
yeah,
And this movie happens and it's just like bow 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 bow, everyone's like hitting their shots and everyone's
death,
dying. It's like
destruction. Yep.
what?
Oh my god. But yeah, so yeah, that scene happens, and we get the cool cover by Lion with the Transformers theme. I thought that's really cool. Loved it. Loved it. Um, and then Unicron turning into the giant Transformer. Um, I don't know. I mean, let me know how you feel about it. But like, honestly, I wish he just stayed a planet throughout the entire movie because I felt like he was scary as the planet that he was with the Transformer.
He was scary as the planet, I will admit, but like when he turns into, like, I kind of empathize with Riz here, where like when he turns into that robot and you see that whole transformation sequence, it's like you're essentially, especially when you see the design of his robot mode, it's essentially the devil. Like this like that was, I think, more terrifying, especially because he already looked big compared to places like Cybertron even, which would probably be much bigger than Earth. But he transforms and he's just so much like he palms like a whole like chunk of Cybertron when he's like, now you shall witness this dismemberment, and he just shreds it. It's like
Smash into the
and plus, like, even when he at that point in the film, he like Galvatron's just this tiny little speck, really sets the scale as like these as like, which, so personally, whenever he has a robot mode, I love it. I love it. But
mm. Yeah, I definitely thought it was shocking when when he did turn to a transformer and like he was instantly at Cybertron and he just smacked the surface of
yeah,
Cybertron. I'm like, he's
yeah,
that big. He's that big.
and
Like,
no one could do anything. No one could do anything. It cuts to Cybertron for a second, and Shockwave's standing there. Everyone's running, and he's like, "Decepticons, scramble! Like, just run!"
too late. Too late. Like, y'all didn't see Unicron like right there. He's so big. Like, you didn't do anything
Mhm.
beforehand. You waited till he
Mhm.
transformed and then you base maneuvers. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it was great to like combine with that. You're hearing his theme, which was composed by Vince DiCola, if I'm pronouncing his name right. Um, Very terrifying theme. Just yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man, that's
First
awesome.
song you hear in the movie too. It's nuts.
Yep. um, and just the like seeing when he's a planet, you seeing the interior of him, like you just seeing all this chaotic like stuff happening inside of it. It's like all this
Mhm.
mechanized gears and like it feels like it's like organic metal all around. It's like it's really terrifying. It's crazy.
No, yeah, it is. It is. And like you even I did laugh a bit when I was first saw this movie because like as a kid, because they do use like a stock like chewing sound effect when you first go and look
Oh,
inside of him, like he's like chewing up something, and it's like that cartoonish like but
yeah.
yeah, no, that was cool. I did like too, speaking about the interior of him, that they kind of implied that he's like almost omnipresent, because when Optimus dies, he has like a feed of that, like he sees that happen,
hmm
which
Like yeah, he can see everything that's happening. It's like
yeah,
that's pretty terrifying. That's
yeah,
nuts.
it's even scarier because it's like, it's also, I guess, how he knows that Galvatron's failed or whatever, whenever he's like, "Oh yeah, I killed all the Autobots and everything." And
He's
it's
like,
scary.
bitch, no, you didn't.
Yeah, yeah. Starts just you know, proceed on your way to migraine ever. Like you just
Yeah, yeah, bro. Like, oh my gosh. And then on top of that, yeah, like him being able to just recreate his own army and like reform a transformer. It's like this dude is God, pretty much. Like it's crazy.
pretty
Um,
much.
yeah, lad, to talk about Galvatron, like pretty much Megatron reincarnated. I thought Galvatron was pretty cool. I like the orange cannon that he has.
Mm-hmm.
One of my nitpicks with Megatron in the G1 show is that he transforms into a gun, which in scale doesn't make any sense. He's a giant robot, and then he transforms into a small gun that another transformer can use. Someone else can use. That was kind of weird, but like
Mm-hmm.
Galvatron when he transformed, he actually transforms into a cannon that is true to his actual size, and the cannon just incinerates a transformer. Like when he shot Starscream, literally turns to ashes. I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah.
That
First thing he did when he was reborn, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go
yeah.
do that."
Yeah, I'm gonna go kill Starscream. I love Starscream too. He's such a weasel. And yeah, I love the dynamic that he's had with Megatron throughout all the iterations of Transformers, like just being the annoying assistant that secretly wants to take his power. So I thought he's very interesting. It also frustrated me that they killed him off too. It's like just get rid of the old toys and bring in the
Yeah.
new again. I'm just like, God, you gotta kill Starscream too, Jesus, man.
This ain't your mama's Transformers.
This definitely ain't your
Yeah.
Papa's Transformers.
Yeah. I mean, I think they wanted to. This is just a guess, but I think they wanted to do away with a lot of the hype. Like they wanted to showcase like this. This is a new, more mature Transformers. Before you had like the whole hijinks, like every single episode that Megatron would fail, Starscream was always like, "Megatron has fallen. I am your new leader," and then he would just like fly away. But
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, Galvatron and his army, I thought that was really cool. It's it's nuts that well, I'm actually kind of glad that they didn't really like try to do this, but it's nuts that they didn't. Well, actually, they kind of did in the last night, but we don't really talk about that. I was about to say it's nuts that they did try to do Unicron in live action already, like because he's so powerful. But I'm glad that Michael Bay didn't get his hands on him before
almost
it
did.
got
Almost did.
almost did. I don't remember the last time they tried Unicron after this movie. Like I know in Transformers Prime, that's the last thing I remember show wise that he was in it, kind of.
Yeah. So the last time they tried Unicron, I mean they've tried him in almost every series, but the last time they tried Unicron was actually in Rooster Teeth's animated show that was what 2022, I think, last year. So they did try Unicron back then, and I mean they did a good job with what they did in that show, but the rest of the show was meh. But that's
Yeah, I mean that's like the granddaddy of Transformers villains. So it's like I'm just surprised we don't see him more in other versions of the shows. And it's a shame that Transformers animated got canceled as soon as it did. We don't know what direction they would have gone into. They already had Omega Supreme in there, so
yeah.
instead it wouldn't happen.
Yeah. I mean I but they did an interview with the guy who made the show, who I think has since passed away. But they were going to in the next season explore parallel universes. They were going to highlight a very popular like one-off comic that they did back then called Shattered Glass. It was an alternate universe. Autobots are evil, Decepticons are good. They were gonna do that, but
Hmm. Well, that would have been very interesting, kind of psychedelic, but we'll see how. Well, but unfortunately, they did try Galvatron in live action, and yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing. Unfortunately, we get to that when we get there. But yeah, but I did like Unicon and Galvatron in here. Now, to talk about other small things like Devastator versus the Dinobots. I've been wanting to see that, and we kind of got it in here. I thought it was kind of cool. I'm surprised the Dinobots played as big of a role as they did because, like, I don't remember them being that big of having that much of a presence in the show. So
mhm.
I'm glad they had a little bit more to do here, and I'm surprised they even brought in Devastator too because there's so much. There's so many characters in here. But of course, why wouldn't you put Devastator in here? It's Transformers the movie. You got to go big or go home. So I'm
Mhm.
glad they did that. Um, Once again, they attempted the Dinobots and the Devastator in the live action movies, and the results there was not great either. But
It's sad that with Devastator, the most memorable thing in the live action films is "I am underneath the enemy scrotum."
enemy scrotum.
That is so sad.
God, we will save our rants for that when we get there. But that was cool. Okay, so now let's get to the others. The Junkions
Yes.
and the Quintessons. The Junkions I thought were stupid. I'm sorry. I did not like them. They talk so weird, like
Right, right.
what
They talk
the
in
hell?
TV. They talk in TV. I think it was an inspiration for Bumblebee talking through the radio, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that got old real quick too. But yeah, I thought they were weird. At first, I thought they were trying to do some sort of French accent and some sort of alien jibber jabber at the same time. And dude, I shit you not, they literally stopped the movie to dance, have a dance party. Really
Yep.
stupid.
Yeah. Weird Al
Really
Yankovic.
stupid.
They had to get a song from him in there, you know.
No, just
uh,
no. The Junkions, that was for one thing. I was like, why? Why? What? They were causing an obstacle for no reason. All they had to do was have Hot Rod give them a piece of energon and sing
yeah.
whatever that stupid line was that they were saying to them.
Bra weep, grana weep, ninny bong.
I can't believe you actually know that too.
I
But
told you, I
like,
know it by heart.
but yeah, that's all they had to do, and we're all okay now. We're all okay now. Let's have a dance party.
Yeah, the
What?
universal greeting, my friend. Yeah, no, they yeah, no, I think a big part of it, which personally I love the Junkions. I like Retgar, but I think the Transformer yet. We don't have that yet. But
Oh, can you say it? Oh, you broke up again. Say it one more time.
yeah, I think a big part of why they had them in there was like, we don't have a motorcycle Transformer yet. You know, it's
Couldn't think of anybody else. You gotta bring the junkyards. Well, it's whatever. I'm so glad they did try to bring him in live action. It would have been the stupidest thing ever.
So about that,
Oh, okay. What?
they did.
Did they?
In last night, he's so not memorable, and I didn't know until I looked at the cast list. But they did put the main Junkion Retgar in the movie. He's the traitor, the dude that like is like giving out like Bumblebee's like voice box and everything like that. That is supposed to be him. Absolutely butchered him, but that was who it was supposed to be.
Oh my god! I guess I gotta look out for that when we watched the last night. Oh my god!
I'm not looking forward to rewatching that.
I'm not either. God, but so many characters they botched in those movies. But all I'm sorry. We're trying not to. We're trying not to get to hasty
Uh,
with Michael Bay films. We can't help but think about that. Like we see all these cool Transformers in the animated stuff, and we just see so much like potential that was just wasted. And
everything.
yeah, one more time. You broke that. We broke up again too. Okay.
Everything after the third movie is such a stain. It's just such a stain on the
Oh,
IP.
you're nice. I think after the second movie, that was
Oh
like
no
that.
no no no! I don't include the second movie. The second movie was garbage. But
Oh, okay. But yeah. So okay. Now we get to the actual quintessons. So we got this tentacle thing right here, and we got this rotating heads, and they're like putting these transformers on trial, and they're having them like they're having them under this pit of sharkticons, stuff like that, and they ask them guilty or innocent, and they say
innocent.
and they drop into the sharkticon. So I'm like, what? Wait, what? So if you're guilty, you'll be set free, but if you're innocent, you get dropped into the pit of sharkticons. Okay, that was weird.
Very very backwards planet. Like there's a funny little like kind of throwaway line that makes a reappearance in a bunch of different parts of Transformers like series. The one random dude that prison, he goes up onto the plank and they're like, guilty or innocent, and he's like, spare me this mockery of justice. For
Yep.
some reason, that just keeps appearing in different series and everything. But no, that whole sequence was just weird, honestly. Like it felt like a fever dream. You had the robot squid that tore Cup to pieces. You had the Sharkticons that like went crazy for Energon goodies. You had the big brawl in the Quintessons like courtroom or whatever that happened when Hot Rod and Cup escaped. And then the Dinobots showing up with Wheelie with a little slingshot. Just it was weird. It was so weird.
It was definitely weird. Okay, look, I get this is Transformers, and so like anything you can transform into anything in this world. I understand that. You don't need to have everything transform. It was so strange when the Sharkticons went out of the water that they transformed into people. I'm like, what? Wait, what? So, what?
You think that's wacky, man? You haven't even touched on Headmasters in season 4. That's a whole other brand of wacky.
I guess it is. I guess it is. I'm just like, it's just it kind of takes away from like the intimidation of like these robot creatures, like it like when they transform into people, then I'm automatically thinking, oh wait, they have a brain, they have some sort of level of logic. So why are you why are you lowering yourself to animals that will just destroy anything? Like, don't
Hmm.
it makes me think, oh, does everything have a mind of their own? Like,
Yeah,
it's very odd.
they seem to be more like primal beings compared to everything else, which I'm assuming that this is one part of the lore that I'm not familiar with. I'm assuming that maybe at some point the Quintessons were like, let's take advantage of that and we'll make them like in our pit or something like that. But they're like a more
Right.
primal species, subspecies. I don't know. They're not exactly Cybertronians, but they're not. It's weird. But
Yeah, and it's like, and all it took was for Grimlock to be like, go kill Quintessons, and then the Sharkticons just went and attacked them. I'm like,
yeah, yeah. They understand like one thing, and that's power. They see that, oh, these dinosaurs, these big metal creatures are much stronger than our current captors. Yeah, we'll turn on them. Yeah, sure.
yeah, I guess, yeah, you got to assert dominance with them back to the
Right, right. Because
primal.
I mean, that's the whole thing with Grimlock. He's the king of the dinosaurs. Me, Grimlock King. But
Yep, that's true. As far as the quintessons themselves, like the rotating heads and the squid thing, like I know they come back in the show.
Yes.
I didn't watch them when they came in the show. Like, do they expand more on their race? And
Not really. You just kind of figure, okay, these people are just evil. Like they are just evil. Season 3, they bring back Optimus Prime, and the way they bring him back is the Quintessons. The Quintessons resurrect him, but they put like a bug or a chip in him that makes Optimus Prime evil. So like, you kind of infer like, okay, these people are just evil. So they end up dying in season 3.
oh,
Pretty much like rid himself of like in his head, decides to drive or fly his ship into their planet and blows it up. But
oh,
it's yeah.
okay, great. Um, like I said, I don't want to think too far ahead, but like the beginning of Transformers 4, did you think that was the quintessence?
No. and like
Okay.
I didn't think that it was that they, because in other parts of Transformers lore, Quintessa is a planet. That is where the Quintessons are
Oh, it's
from.
not this little
It's
android
not. It's
female
not.
thing.
It's not the person. It's just another instance of Michael Bay seeing a pile of metal, assigning a random name from Transformers to it, and being like, "There we go. That's it. That's all we need." like
Oh,
this is the same person, or same, I guess, member of that team who agreed with the others that an accent is a personality trait. That's
okay. Like I said, we'll get there when we get there. Okay, so I did want to know your thought process on it because, like, when I saw that like organic hand in the beginning of Transformers 4, I was almost thinking, is this supposed to be the quintessence? I don't know, but
apparently. Apparently.
I don't know. So yeah, we'll get there when we get there. I'm sorry that we keep jumping around, but like
It's
um,
yeah.
but um, I I guess there's not really anything else to really talk about with this movie unless you want to bring stuff up because I think we covered a lot. We did okay. Rodimus Prime at the end, he
Yes.
ends up opening the Matrix of Leadership and he becomes Rodimus Prime and becomes a bigger sports car with hatchback in the
Yeah, he
back.
becomes a Winnebago.
Winnebago. Oh, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, they make him older. He gets little like metal wrinkles. He
I did see that. Yeah, I was
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
slightly older. Look at
Yeah,
you.
they foreshadowed it, and like when Optimus died, he grabbed the Matrix. You saw his like little wings become a little more angled. So I mean, they foreshadowed it a bit, but it was definitely something that was like kind of like out of nowhere, because it's like this character who we're just meeting in this movie is now the leader.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And once again, that would have been fine if they just fleshed out his character a little bit more, see a little bit more of the hero's journey with Hot Rod,
yeah,
and
I
maybe by
mean,
then we could have bought into it more.
yeah, I mean, story wasn't really unless you looked at the comics that were coming out at the time, story was not really the forefront of everything. It was just, here are these toys. Like originally, Transformers was supposed to end after the first 3-part episode of the show, More Than Meets the Eye. That was supposed to be it. But because it was so popular, they decided to keep going with that, and now we have the IP that we have today. Like, it accidentally became a show.
Ah,
And
so it's a Dragon Ball Z stuff again.
yeah, but the whole point of it was to just sell toys. So,
Mm,
that fueled the entirety of G1, and then,
yeah,
future shows to a lesser extent did the same thing, but they did start to put story at the forefront. But
yeah. Another thing I gotta address with the transforming physics, because like as I said, it frustrates me that Megatron turns into a small gun and he transforms into a big robot, which is weird. And then
yes,
we see Optimus Prime when he transforms into the truck, the hatchback just magically appears, and then when he transforms back to a robot, it
the
disappears.
biggest mystery of all. Apparently, the explanation is that it goes into a pocket dimension, but like, yeah, but what's funny too is like with the whole like mass shifting and like them turning into like guns and like Soundwave turning into like a cassette player.
Oh
The
yeah,
whole
Soundwave
yes,
too. Like turned to
yeah,
a cassette tape. I'm like, wait a
yeah,
minute.
yeah, yeah. And the whole reason for that is actually it's because of the toy line that these characters originate from. So originally they weren't even called Transformers. I don't know if you're aware, they were originally a Japanese uh toy line owned by Takara called Diaclone. And it was supposed to be like these pilots piloting these robots or like other robots that turn into like useful little items that like help out humans or whatever. So Megatron was kind of just like this leftover thing that they had when Hasbro acquired the rights to turn them into Transformers, and was just like, well, okay, well, he's a gun, so he can't be a good guy. And we'll make him the main bad guy. You know, he'll just turn into a giant robot and then turn into a small gun. But
Okay, so they just stuck with what they had and like tried to make it work.
pretty much, they just had this toy line and they were like, okay, take the little humans out of it. And now what do we have? Because like originally, Optimus wasn't even supposed to be the leader. Originally, it was going to be Jetfire, but they
Oh,
yeah, but they were like, oh, big red truck.
yeah, red, white, and blue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, you talked about Soundwave. I love Soundwave too. I like he's the only Transformer that actually sounds like a robot, and I
Yes.
I really love that. Like Optimus, Decepticons.
Yes.
Universe. Oh
What's
my god, I love that.
Oh yeah, no, I love that voice. And what's funny is that with that voice, Frank Welker just did his Dr. Claw voice from Inspector Gadget, and they just put a
Oh, he
vocoder
was
over it.
Dr. Claw.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. So they just had him do his Dr. Claw voice, and then they just put a vocoder over it, and they were like, yeah, that's Soundwave. And I was like, that's perfect. That is a fantastic voice.
That is awesome. Emerge.
Yeah. He has
Yes.
like two sentence two word sentences. You know, his every time he sends out his cassettes, it's an operation or something, and then it yeah, I love his cassettes too.
Oh yeah, his cassettes. I
Yeah,
love it. Just emerge, and yeah, we talked about Laserbeak was like
yeah,
in the opening spying on the Autobots. So I
yeah,
thought that was cool.
yeah. You had Rumble and Frenzy, and then you even had the Autobot equivalent of him, Blaster, who had his own little cassettes that he would send out. But
Yep, that's cool. I wish we had more Shockwave too. Like Shockwave, I know he was in it, but he was only in a couple of shots, and he didn't have any speaking lines. So I'm like, that's an L.
he
Come on now.
he had two lines. He had one line at the beginning. He said Laserbeak returns Megatron. And
He's wait. What was the second one he said?
Decepticons scramble. Like the first
Oh,
time you see him, he's sitting there like with the Decepticons, like, oh, looking at the security feed. The next time you see him, he's running for his life because Unicron's eating the planet.
so, okay, great. Well, that's one thing that Dark of the Moon has over this movie. Shockwave has more of a presence.
Yeah. I think he has just as many lines though.
That's very true. That's true. So I'm like, gosh, darn it. Okay, well, I think that's all I wanted to cover. Anything else you want to bring up before we start closing things out?
I think that's just about it. Oh, you know what? One other thing I wanted to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Orson Welles. I mentioned that they did something interesting with his voice.
Yeah.
So when they recorded his voice, because he was, dying, his voice was more of like a whisper. So it was barely audible. So they ended up in editing just amplifying like a lot of like the low tones in the bass, and then you got the voice for Unicron that you have now. So it's just a funny little thing that they did with his takes that got using voice that we know and love in that movie.
Yeah, I definitely hear it now because like it did feel like he wasn't really trying to like yell when he was speaking. It did sound very soft and like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that definitely makes sense. I definitely liked how they adjusted his voice and stuff like that. It made it sound so booming and creepy and mysterious. I definitely love that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess we'll start doing our final thoughts and grades overall. I do really enjoy this movie. It's definitely a thrill right from start to finish. Very little on story, as Big B has said. This does feel like an hour and a half toy commercial, and that's exactly what it was. And so much so that they had to kill all of most of our favorite Transformers to bring in the new characters to sell the new toys, and that definitely was traumatizing. But I definitely respect the movie for having balls. They like they weren't afraid to kill off the popular characters, even Optimus Prime, which still was really upset about. But even so, I did like the characters that we followed, like Hot Rod, RC, Ultra Magnus, Dinobots. Um, I thought the Quintessons were interesting. The little that we've gotten, I did not like the Junkions though. That's probably the one thing that I just didn't like at all in this movie. Um, the animation is great. The soundtrack is awesome. Unicron's still one of the best Transformers villains to this day. Galvatron was really cool. Overall, this still is the standard when it comes to Transformers movies. Like, it's just disappointing that the live action films didn't live up to the potential. Like, they actually made the Transformers the main characters. They are front center. They're not backup characters. They're not treated as special effects. Like, this goes to show you that you can have CG. You can have like characters like these lead a film. It doesn't always have to be about humans. So, but yeah, overall, I will give the Transformers the movie. I'll give it a solid B plus. It's a really good movie. Liked it a lot. Big B, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of it does hold a special place in my heart. As being like one of the first things I watched as a kid. If I were grading it back then, I would have given it an A plus back then. But now, like with there's being so many different series and seeing how the story can be even better, like especially in things like the comics, like IDW did amazing work with their comic run. Which, if anyone out there, has any sort of compendiums and everything, it was really good. But no, the characters were, the designs were fantastic. Like you said, how the film just follows the robots, doesn't follow, the humans all that much. And it does show that you can have a quality film just following them, on their journey, seeing what their struggles are and seeing how they overcome them. And the soundtrack and score is fantastic, like chef's kiss, love it. And having the perfect cast to back it, Peter Cullen, Frank Welker, Orson Welles, Judd Nelson, Leonard Nimoy, just so many talented actors in that film. So overall, I'm actually going to give it an A minus. I still really love this film. Still, probably my second favorite Transformers film, but it still holds a really near and dear place in my heart. But,
Oh, I can't wait to hear what your favorite is.
oh, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Well, those are our thoughts on the animated Transformers movie. Tell us, what did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. So now it is time to get into the Michael Bay movies. So the next movie we will be talking about is Transformers 2007.
Yay!
Yeah, tune in for that when it comes out. I literally have not seen that movie in years. I used to watch that movie a lot. So it's gonna be interesting to see how I feel about it now with what we get, what with all the other films we've got now up until this point. How do I still feel about it? But yeah, can't wait to get to that. But if you guys enjoyed this live stream, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It would help me a lot if you at least like the video, like the stream. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this and you want to hear more about my stuff. And I know there's some of you Ninja watchers out there that have watched more than 3 of my videos and you have not subscribed. So please, if you like what I do, it would just help a lot if you subscribe. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. We got some really cool topics out here for you. I talk about it all. I talk about all different types of movies: Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Wizarding World, all that type of stuff. Netflix stuff, everywhere. Disney, all that type of stuff. If you want to hear my takes on things, please like and subscribe. You want to go and plug your channel, Big B? Go ahead. Plug the channel.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You can find me on YouTube on my gaming channel as Big B, but with Transformers stuff, I actually have a whole channel for that. Red, White, and Blue Streak. I do Transformers reviews and everything, figure reviews, and just generally have a good time with it. Sprinkle a little bit of comedy in there. Very inspired by, if anyone heard of him, Jobby the Hong, who's a very comedic figure reviewer. So definitely come by and say hi.
Cool. I will put a link in the description below so you can check out his regular channel and he also has a toy channel too. So I'm going to put a link there as well so you guys can check him out. But that is all we have for you, Transformers fans, and we will see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later, and remember, you got the touch. You got the power. Woo!
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Talk to you guys later.